multiple times.
Things about it.
Yeah, here we go. We're on the video live stream. Good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show video live stream. I'm Ken Lundberg and my special guest this morning is Kirk Goodwin. Welcome.
Thank you.
Have you been in this building before?
A while ago. So I on the board for formerly Gateway Services.
Okay.
And now it's Center for Growth and Independence. So
very nice.
Talked a few times. One time with my daughter.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And how old's your daughter now?
She is 19.
Wow. What's she doing?
She is going to be part of Project Search. And so she's going to
What is Project Search?
Yes, it's a great program that they have through Cornwall. And so it is technically a 5th year of your high school career.
Okay.
And they individuals that need some help. My daughter has special needs. She was born with Down syndrome. And it's a great opportunity for her to learn different jobs. And so she does 3 different rotations within Cornwall.
Okay.
And then they also have classes on how to work and how to interact. And sometimes I wish I had that when I was in high school.
More
college,
young
right?
people do need this.
Yes.
Yeah, this is great.
It's a great opportunity for her to learn different roles. I know one, she's going to work like at the coffee shop. She's going to work at
the gift shop.
Gift shop,
yep.
Yes. And then probably like mail delivery or something of that nature.
Okay.
But they'll figure it out for her, and she'll be able to have some great opportunities to interact with people. And if you want to see another side of her, she's at Rising Kites every Sunday afternoon. Great coffee shop.
Yeah, that's down in Bridgman, right?
It is in Bridgman.
Okay,
it's a lovely place. They support those with disabilities.
Very nice.
And it's a lovely place. You can get a good coffee, get some scones or donuts, and pick up some flowers too. They have some amazing bouquets.
So your daughter has Down syndrome.
She does.
And so you named just now 2 special programs that we've talked about here on the air: Rising Kites and the Center for Growth and Independence. Right. How prevalent is Down syndrome in the area, and how prevalent are programs that are available to help people?
So I think we found this area great, especially the Southwest Michigan, South Bend area. It tends to have a little higher. There's a selective aspect to Down syndrome in birth, and how many actually are born. And there's studies that show maybe 90% aren't born, and selective abortions.
Okay.
And so this area seems to have a different rate than other regions.
Okay. And so the programs that are available to help people with Down syndrome, widely available?
We found
I'm thinking not.
Yeah.
But
we found at least in this area has been great. That certainly as you look at different locations, you look at that. But the resources are in many areas are pretty strong. The school district was great. She excelled at St. Joe School District. She was in varsity cheerleading all 4 years. Yeah. So if you were at the games, the really short young lady, that was my daughter. And she's actually going to help. She's actually helping as a coach this year.
That's awesome.
With the team.
That's fantastic. Well, we're talking with Kirk Goodwin. He is a corporate attorney, and Kirk messaged me on Facebook not too long ago and said, what was the opening? Was it on fish?
Yes. And so we're starting to find that different townships in the area.
Don't reveal the answer, though.
Have interesting limitations on the types of animals you're supposedly allowed to keep in your house.
Okay. Limitations on the types of animals that you're allowed to keep in your house. And Kirk and I, we go way back. We used to have fantastic conversations when we were working at Whirlpool Corporation, largely because we worked together on the intellectual property stuff. You were doing the hard work. I got to go out and cheerlead of what you were doing.
You just made me look good. So that was maybe harder work.
But fascinating stuff, because he went through and looked at area rules, regulations, ordinances, and you found some interesting things. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes here on the WSJM Morning Show. If you don't mind, I mean, we always ask our people for their origin story. So we'll go through who you are and how you got to where you are in just a couple minutes. All right?
Sure.
Okay. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We'll talk about weather and sports and news. It's all coming up right here. Thank you for joining us.
Tomorrow. When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:05, it's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning, and thanks for listening on the radio. Thanks for watching on the video live stream. I'm Ken Lundberg. We have a guest in studio this hour. It's Kirk Goodwin. He's a corporate attorney, and he works a lot in intellectual property. Is that what we call it?
Yeah.
Intellectual property.
Technically, we're
Thinky stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we'll talk about trademarks, patents, and that kind of stuff. But we'll talk about some of the things that he's been discovering as he's been taking a look in his spare time at rules, regulations, ordinances in the area, and so he found some interesting things. And we'll ask him why he looked at that and a whole bunch more. It's all coming up right here on the WSJM Morning Show. So tune in. First, we've got to get some weather, some news, and then we'll start the conversation. We'll get sports on the air as well. For the forecast for today, it's looking mostly cloudy. A 60% chance of showers. High around 74. We've already had some of that rainfall. We'll see how much more we get. Northeast winds are going to be 10 miles per hour today, gusting up to 20. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy, a low overnight of 57. Yeah, you're noticing the humidity has gone away. I feel good about that.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gorgeous when it does that. We've got a good weekend setting up with lower humidity. Mostly sunny skies Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's time to get the golf clubs out. The high on Friday, probably around 77. Same thing on Saturday, high of 77. And then Sunday, a high of 80. So picnics, barbecues, golfing, all that other fun stuff. Take it outdoors because it's going to be a nice weekend. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, we reintroduce partly sunny skies, but we reintroduce a chance of rain each of those days, and highs probably around 82, 83 degrees. We do have sports coming up with Dave Wolf in just a couple of minutes, but first off, let's get some news. One suspect is facing charges after a Southwest Enforcement Team drug bust at Blossom Acres Apartments in Benton Township on Wednesday. Sweat officers say they served a search warrant at the complex, but they were refused entry by the suspect. Sweat says the suspect then threw an object into the woods near his apartment while officers were trying to get into the place. That item was recovered, and the team says it found it to be a box containing about 90 grams of fentanyl. That is a lot. The 36-year-old from Benton Township was under investigation for suspected fentanyl trafficking, and police say he had just been released from parole earlier this month on a prior fentanyl conviction. He's now back at the Berrien County Jail on charges of possession with intent to deliver fentanyl, maintaining a drug house, evidence tampering, and resisting and obstructing. Sweat thanks community members for reporting their suspicions that the operation was continuing. They investigate narcotics-related cases in Berrien, Van Buren, and Cass counties. Other news, St. Joseph City commissioners are looking into whether money can be saved by having internal staff at the city take over some duties that they currently farm out to consultants. At this week's meeting of the City Commission, Public Works Director Greg Grodhaus said the city needs to update its 5-year Parks and Recreation Master Plan so they can qualify for grants for improvements at places like the new Paddler Park. He proposed hiring Edgewater Resources at a cost of about $28,000 to update the plan. But that is when City Commissioner Michael Sorolla had some questions, suggesting some of the tasks be performed by that were supposed to be performed by the consultant maybe be brought in-house.
It looks like at least 4 of these, if not 5, are things that might be able to be done by staff internally. And I'm wondering if there's an opportunity for us to perhaps look at doing this internally and save $28,500. Is this something that we have done in the past ever and submitted this on our own, or we always used an outside agency?
Grodhaus said city staff would be stretched too thin to take on the work, but Sorolla said there could be another way.
If we expand staff, how much of this stuff can we do internally? It just seems like we hire a lot of things outside.
Mayor Brooke Thomas said it could be worthwhile to explore new possibilities. Commissioners held off on approving the resolution to hire Edgewater while city staff consider the question. The matter will come up again at the commission's next meeting. Next Tuesday is a primary election day around Michigan and in Van Buren County. A preview. Voters in one community have some things to decide. WSJM's Andrew Green.
In South Haven, it's time for primaries. Top among them is the race for mayor, which has 3 candidates. Mayor Annie Brown is being challenged by City Council member Mary Hosley and Joshua Lemmer. The top 2 vote getters in the primary will go on to the November election. There are also primaries taking place for City Council in Wards 1 and 2. In Ward 1, Samantha Kellum, Lisa Croupiars, and Eddie Polk will all be on the ballot. In Ward 2, it's Kent Brindley, Thomas Capps, and Todd Heinrich. As in the mayoral primary, the top 2 vote getters in each council primary will go on to the general election. Anyone with questions about voting can contact the South Haven City Clerk's office. Andrew Green, WSJM News.
And finally, coming soon to the South Haven Center for the Arts will be a new exhibit exploring environmental consciousness, transformation, and material reuse. Center Director Carrie Hagee tells us Altered Consumerism, it's an art exhibit, will feature pieces from 4 artists who often work together: Robin Riva, James Palmore, Mary Hammers, and James Gordon Jackson all proposed the exhibit to the center.
They came up with this exhibition to bridge the themes between all of their work, which are, they all share a concern, like an environmental consciousness and a concern for waste and material reuse.
Hagee says the exhibit will put to use those materials that would otherwise be discarded.
Altered consumerism includes paintings, sculptures from repurposed materials, portraiture, and drawings as well from Mary Hammers.
Hagee says the artists are seeking to start a conversation about sustainability and the evolving relationship between humans and the natural world. The exhibit will open with a reception featuring the artists. That happens on August 8th from 5 to 7 p.m. It will then remain open, free to visit, during South Haven Center for the Arts regular business hours through September 20th. Hagee adds the center will also have activities set up to help visitors further contemplate the meaning of the exhibit. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Gotta like that.
Make
right?
art out of it. Why not?
So I'm not just leaving garbage around.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Don't put that in the garbage. We can make a mobile out of that. I like it. That's up in South Haven. If you want to see more on that story, check it out. It's on our website at WSJM.com. Good morning. It's 7:12. It's the WSJM Morning Show. That's a look at some of the local news that we have covered this morning. We'll have local sports in just a moment. And not really local sports because there's nobody playing right now, but we'll have sports. It's coming up from Dave Wolf. Talk about the Tigers. But right now, why don't we introduce, for our discussion this hour, Kirk Goodwin. He is a corporate attorney, and he's not here to serve a subpoena. He is here to talk a little bit about some local ordinances and some rules, regulations you've been taking a look at, and some interesting things that you found. But we're going to get your origin story as well. So why don't we start there? Why don't we introduce who is Kirk Goodwin? Where are you from? Where are you born? Where you been? And how'd you get here?
Yeah. Well, while I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, I grew up in Iowa.
Okay.
And I went to the University of Iowa for undergrad and graduate school in biomedical engineering.
Wow. Biomedical engineering?
Yeah, I thought I'd do the easy one.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Rocket scientist
right.
was filled up.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was great. I was working at the laser lab in grad school as both a TA and an RA.
Okay.
And I was sitting in the lab, and 2 lab mates behind me were arguing what was better, hyperdrive or warp drive, for over an hour. And you know, as you're growing up, you admire your father. You don't always want to be your father or do what he does. You want to do your own thing.
Yeah.
And he's an attorney, and I remember reaching out to him and I explained, over an hour, I just listened to these 2 guys argue about hyperdrive or warp drive and what was better. I don't think they came to a decision. And he's like, well, maybe I had this patent attorney colleague that I went to law school with, and maybe we should go talk to him.
Oh.
And so that was kind of the beginning.
Open the door.
And he was actually teaching at a law school in Des Moines, Iowa called Drake Law School. And I applied there and got a scholarship, and
wow.
the rest kind of went from there.
That was a really smart move. You because clearly you're interested in things and how they work and how they're put together.
Yeah. And so the neat thing, as a patent attorney, you have to have an engineering or a science type degree to be able to understand the technology that you're doing. And so that was a nice foray in, and it kind of is rule based, like from the law, but and the science has rules to it too. But nothing's ever quite black and white.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Kirk Goodwin, a corporate attorney. So would you say that you practice intellectual
property? Yes.
Intellectual property law. Okay. Yeah. How long have you been doing that?
I graduated in 99. So,
yeah. So we'll do that. 20, 25, 26 years.
Yes, yeah.
And intellectual property that entire time.
And I did a mix of, we call it prosecution, where you're getting people patents.
Yeah.
I do some M&A work. I've done a fair amount of litigation. I currently chair the American Bar Association's patent litigation committee.
Oh, wow.
And so haven't had any at my new role, other than like certainly talking to certain other companies.
Just having a nice little conversation over coffee.
Yeah.
Too bad you don't have any patents yourself.
Well, I do have a couple, but
the spoiler
but
alert.
they
How
all
many?
They stay with Whirlpool.
Oh,
that's
they
why I
stay-
did it. So
okay.
there were like 3, I think.
Okay, so you actually kept in with engineering while you were doing the intellectual property.
Absolutely, yes.
That's fascinating. Okay, we'll talk more about that. But we're talking with Kirk Goodwin. He's a corporate attorney. He's now working for the company called Ralliant.
Called Ralliant, yes.
Ralliant. What does Ralliant do?
Well, Ralliant's a spinoff, a recent spinoff. We spun off this month.
Okay.
Yes,
Wow.
from a company called Fortive. Fortive was about a $24-25 billion market cap. I think it traded around like 23 when we spun. And it had a whole bunch of different companies, and it had this precision technology group.
Okay.
Had some healthcare group, some brands that you might recognize as Fluke is one of the brands.
Yeah.
That's part of Fortive.
Okay.
Well, there's a precision group that spun off with Sensing, and it was Tektronix, who I was with at the time, and then a bunch of different sensing type companies, and as well as a company called PacSci EMC.
Wow.
Which is kind of a very cool company.
Okay.
And we spun off. Company's about 44% from revenues is about Tektronix, and the other is the 56 balance is coming from the Sensing Tech PacSci group. Right now we're a little bit bigger right now than Whirlpool from a stock perspective.
Yeah.
But it's just really, really cool technology, higher margin products that really, when you look at it, is products that are created to help innovators innovate. And so without either our test and measurement systems from the Tektronix group or the sensors that measure really, really important things, you have a $250,000 generator. You want to make sure you buy the right sensor to make sure it is running at 100%, and anything that's going to go wrong, you have it. Or PacSci EMC makes excitable materials, and those are like, you may have canopies and jets that you want to go and save people's lives, and we've actually saved over 1,500 people's lives with PacSci EMC.
That is amazing. That's amazing work. I can't wait to dive into this. So that's what we're going to do this hour right here on the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. My guest this morning, Kirk Goodwin, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes, but we're going to start that conversation on the video live stream. Right now here on the radio, sports, Dave Wolf.
Baseball, the Tigers.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So still on the video live stream here. Yep. And so when you say sensors, I immediately think of, okay, new applications, AI and cars, for instance.
Right.
You guys do anything with automotive?
So they do some, but really when we're looking at it, it's we have a group that each company group sells different things. We have one that really is into the farming area.
Yeah.
One that has like one type of sensor that will work for harvesters, and so you don't have like 10 different sensors to measure all the different things. You can do the same one over and over again. So if something breaks down, you can go and replace that one sensor.
Wow.
In the field. Other ones measure like the bins and the flow rates, and like as you're storing grain and managing grain storage.
Where can we find this company? Where is this company?
So Ralliant.com.
Yeah.
Right. And so check it out. And there's a whole bunch of
your headquarters is in the cloud.
Well, so we're actually headquarters in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
Brand new. We're opening up where we haven't opened the new building yet. We have a temporary one there right now. A few of us, like myself, work remotely.
Yeah.
So there's some remote opportunities. So go to careers.ralliant.com.
Nice.
And
did the communications department say plug our job openings?
They didn't, but they do have a couple.
Okay.
The HR teams is the one. So
nice.
I right now support kind of the procurement side, the AI side, as well as the intellectual property.
Okay. The AI side.
Yeah. So we're a company that focuses on technology. AI is going to be key. And there's some really, really cool AI technology that we have. We even just launched one internally for the inventor base that we have at Ralliant.
What does your AI do for the inventor base?
Right. So
what can you share?
So in our experiences as to really get your patent or trade secret or protect the trade secret, you got to know what it is. And so most companies will have a disclosure system.
Okay.
And so you're supposed to submit your invention. This is my new invention, or this is my trade secret we should keep, or whatever it happens to be. Or this is something new to the company. Could you check it out for us?
Yeah.
Often it's not fully flushed out.
Yeah.
And so we have an AI tool that's actually really good at kind of scoring how well have you described your invention from 1 to 10. And here's the keys to maybe describe it better and help you do that. So it makes a much more robust disclosure. In all over the world, it's first to file for patents. And so if we can get the information quicker and easier, then we can protect that faster and be the first one to file on it.
So just for the lay person, patents are important because it protects your intellectual property. It protects others from copying what you're doing and taking your hard work and then making money off of it, essentially.
If you take a step back, it's actually in the U.S. Constitution, and all the other constitutions of the world are starting to copy that aspect of it. So it's the right to protect those rights. In the U.S., we give a 20-year protection. Most other countries do that as well. And so it's the right to exclude others, but you have to teach them how to do it. And so it's that exchange. You teach others how to do your invention, and then for that period of time of 20 years, you can protect it.
Wow.
There's other aspects, the design patents or the ornamental appearance you can protect for 15 years.
Okay. So, but typically it's 20 years, and typically it's global.
Well, you could file in every country. Each country costs more. So you
have to file individually in every country?
You do. Yes.
Well, that's no fun.
Well,
so what are the first two countries
you charge for it?
What are the first two countries you file in always?
Well, typically in the U.S., but if the inventor's outside, there are certain rules that you may have to follow in that country first.
What about China? Because I know they like to copy stuff.
Well, we'll follow in China, and it's going to be interesting if you can enforce a patent in China against a Chinese company, right? And so
you can.
Well, not always.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the balancing acts that you have to do, right?
Okay.
And so you try to protect your marketplace.
Yeah.
And so rather than the areas that is being made, because that manufacturing base can move quicker than the market base.
Yeah. All right. Back on the radio here. It's the WSJM Morning Show, 721.
We're going to be cooler, 74 this afternoon. Partly cloudy to clear skies tonight. We drop to 57, and tomorrow mostly sunny with a high of only 77. We'll be in the low 50s Saturday morning and 77 in the afternoon. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
722. Good morning. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. My guest this morning is Kirk Goodwin. I was checking on the video live stream to say good morning to folks. So good morning to all of you who are there. And I echo what Teresa says to Bill, a.k.a. Scott. Good luck in your race this weekend. He said, I'm not getting the golf clubs out this weekend. It is going to be beautiful. I'm not going to get out the golf clubs. I'm going to race. He's an RC car racer. And yeah, it's so much fun. He invited me out to Goebels for a race out there. I took a look at his race trailer. Amazing stuff. It's like a playground.
Yeah, those cars move fast.
They are very fast. And they're so cool.
They are.
Anyway, good morning. We're talking with Kirk Goodwin this morning. He is a corporate attorney specializing in intellectual property. Used to work up the road at Whirlpool Corporation. Now works for a company called Ralliant, which they delve in. They do a lot of cool stuff, a lot of sensors, a lot of artificial intelligence. And so we'll talk more about that on the video live stream. But one of the things that Kirk reached out to me about, in disclosure, we used to work together at Whirlpool Corporation. So we had a lot of good conversations. But one of the things you reached out about were local ordinances. Now let's set the baseline here. Why did you, what started this for you, and what were you looking at?
Yeah. So there's a Michigan attorney called Steve Leto has a really fun podcast or YouTube channel, depending on what you want to ingest his information.
What is it again?
Steve Leto, or Leto's Law.
Okay, Leto's Law.
Right. And so there is a recent story that the Pacific Legal Foundation filed a lawsuit on behalf of a young lady in Douglas, Michigan.
Okay.
She wanted chickens.
She wanted to have chickens in her yard.
Want some chickens.
Yeah.
And so she looked up the ordinance, and you need to go in and apply for an application in Douglas, and she did that, and they gave her the permission to have her chickens, and she says she spent $23,000 in a new coop, and
$23,000.
These are some nice chickens, I guess. But a lot of money.
Yeah.
And she says it was the coop, and it was the fences, and be beyond the chickens.
Okay, she wanted the Martha Stewart variety.
She made them nice, and she got her 6 chickens, and she fell in love with them. She says, and as you do, with
penny.
Yeah,
sure.
I recommend not doing that if you want to eat them. But this is what happened, right? And Douglas has this ordinance that you can have chickens, but you have to do the permit, and then once it's permitted, you did that.
And she went through that, right?
She did it.
Okay.
Right. Unfortunately, if you look at the ordinance for Douglas, you also have to go, and the city is supposed to go and ask the neighbors, do you have a problem with this?
Oh.
And they failed to do that.
Uh-oh.
Well, one of the neighbors complained. And so one of the nuances on this story is that there are residences, full-time residences in Douglas, and there are some more part-time ones that's their second home, right?
Okay.
I think the complaining neighbor might live in Chicago
Okay.
area and then comes over more sporadically, but was not a fan of her chickens. And so they said, you can't have your chickens, and they started threatening to fine her thousands of dollars.
The
a
city
day.
did.
Yes.
So she went through the process, the city process. She got the permit. The city was supposed to follow up with the neighbors. They didn't. In the meantime, Henny Penny was allowed to be there, and then the neighbor complained.
And if there's one complaint,
Yeah.
the neighbor gets to veto you the rights that she can use on your property.
Okay. She should have offered him like fresh eggs or something.
I think, well,
She might have.
She might have, or she may have.
Maybe
Anyway,
they were, yeah.
I
Anyway.
don't know. I just go back to the high school days.
Okay.
It might have been a different way to deliver the eggs, right?
So what happened in that situation? Did she have to get rid of her chickens? then?
Well, and so it's in a lawsuit. So they
Oh.
filed a federal lawsuit.
Oh.
The Pacific Legal Foundation is an organization that helps those that really couldn't probably afford to have these cases brought.
Yeah.
And they, quote, stand up for the little guy.
Yeah.
And then they look for different things. And so in this case, they filed suit. They said the two main causes is one, like how can you allow someone just to veto the way that you use your own property?
Yeah.
And
Right,
that's
yeah.
an interesting legal
Property
question.
rights.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that one comes out.
Yeah.
The other question was, hey, why are you punishing her for your mistake?
Right.
But you could see that the complaining neighbor would say, well, why does she get to get by with it just because you guys made a mistake?
Right.
According to ordinance. So it'll be an interesting case, I think.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Maybe you think like, well, how about this area? What about chickens? And so I didn't even get to the chicken question because I started finding some other interesting ordinances, and I sometimes it's that unintended consequences, and we've all seen that in our lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Unintended consequences.
Right. And so the different townships will start saying, hey, you can only have a certain number of animals.
Okay.
Some say, well, you only have a certain number of cats and dogs. Okay. And unless you're Bill Murray, I guess cats and dogs living together is okay. But in this case, they did limit in certain townships, like all animals altogether.
Oh.
And I live in Royalton Township. I looked
Okay.
at what Royalton Township's rules are. You are limited to 3 animals.
You can have 3 animals
Although
in Royalton
it's
Township.
3 animals, and
So we're
that's a
talking about
combination-
cats, dogs, that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, yes.
Okay.
Also, like hamsters, and they actually specifically call that small fish. So I don't know if
Small
large
fish.
fish or not.
Okay.
Large fish are different, maybe.
Hmm.
But
they
did-
specifically called out small fish.
Yeah.
So if you have a dog, then you get a hamster and you have a fish, you're at your limit.
Yeah,
One
well,
fish.
they did say the smaller animals may count as 2, may count as 1 in the
Oh,
ordinance.
okay. So if you have 2 guppies, maybe that's 1 fish.
Right. But they did
Okay.
say that they the city administrator themselves or the person that's going to review it can actually think on their own and
Okay.
decide what to do. So it's not 100% clear, but it's kind of an interesting. Why do you feel the need to regulate the number of fish in a house? And so I think they meant well.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to Royalton Township, like, why did you do this? Like,
Yeah. What'd they say?
We don't know. It was like 50 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But as you are looking at doing your ordinance and updating your ordinance, probably look at all the ordinances and just have someone like from the township and as some cities are saying, hey, maybe do that internally rather than hire a $24,000 consultant.
Right.
So it's a great opportunity to kind of take a look at your ordinances and say, do we really need to regulate the number of animals in a house? And if we do we maybe limit it just to cats and dogs?
How far was your review? Did you look outside Royalton Township?
I did.
Okay.
I looked at everyone, and about half have a regulation on the number of animals.
Okay.
Some limit it to 3, some limit it to 6.
Oh.
Lake Charter, for instance, is 6 animals, and they do call cats and dogs household fish and household birds.
Oh, okay.
But they do regulate poultry is a different beast.
Oh.
Some have regulations against you can't have rabbits.
No
But
rabbits.
I think those are probably older ones where people are raising rabbits for food
Yeah. Okay.
rather than the big
Pets
floppy
and stuff
ones,
like that.
right?
Yeah. For show.
Right.
Interesting.
Others don't allow bees.
No bees?
or you can't harbor them either. So I don't know what harbor means.
So no harboring felons, no harboring escaped convicts, no harboring bees.
Bees, and many actually say the limit is number of house like cats that you have in your house or that you harbor.
Okay.
So maybe they're worried about people feeding cats.
Yeah,
and
putting the
them
milk out and that kind of
hanging
thing.
out.
Huh. Fascinating. And so you found that in a great deal of areas around here that there were limits on. I guess that makes sense. It makes perfect sense, right? Because you don't want somebody with
20 dogs,
20 cats, 20
right.
dogs, something like that.
Yeah. Other ones have dealt in a more interesting way. They just say, hey, if you have more than 3 dogs, you're a kennel. And then you need to get approval for the kennel and make sure you have the right permits. And I think there's obviously other state obligations for kennels to make sure that they're maintained well. And so that's one way that townships or cities could do that.
I'm curious. So we have to break for the financial news here from Bloomberg in just a moment. But I'm curious, Kirk, as you went through, we're talking with Kirk Goodwin, corporate attorney, and deals specifically in intellectual property. But he was looking at some of the ordinances locally about some of the restrictions that townships and municipalities otherwise have as far as animals, because he was curious. When you were looking through all these different ordinances in these different municipalities, did you get a sense of how often they might look at their ordinances or their codes and do updates or cleaning house?
Well, yeah.
Does anyone do that?
There's one city with like over 111 ordinances, and each are separate.
Yeah.
And so instead of in one big book, which is easier to search, most of them have it fairly well organized. Royalton Township has one single page.
Okay.
Others have it in these kind of databases that are searchable, which are really, really handy. And then there's a handful that say, if you want to see the rest of them, come into the office and take a look at them.
Oh, you've got to look at them physically. They're not searchable.
That makes it a little harder.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. All right. We'll talk more about this with Kirk Goodwin and other things. I want to talk about the AI.
Yeah.
At some point, because I'm sure you've been delving into that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we'll continue that conversation on the video live stream. We'll continue it on the radio here after a few messages and some news. We've got financial news with Bloomberg, our world and national news from ABC, our local news preview, and state news from the Michigan News Network, plus sports and weather. It's all coming up right here on WSJM.
For a limited time.
All right, so back on the topic of the ordinances, because I mean, a lot of places, and I'm sure, I mean, shoot, in Indiana, they probably still have this on the books, blue laws, right?
Yeah.
And explain for the person who might not know blue laws.
Yeah. Well, I lived in Georgia for a while, so there were blue Sundays. But the blue, like, what should you treat Sunday differently?
Right.
In different ways, and so a lot of it was around alcohol and when you can purchase alcohol. It was very common at one point to say, hey, you can't buy alcohol after midnight, and which is not maybe a bad way to maybe limit some of the got to plan
illegal
ahead.
block parties and that kind of thing.
Maybe sober up.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That's probably a good way to do it.
Not a good idea. Keep the party rolling.
Yeah. There's even like Bainbridge has a law that's kind of related to blue. They have an ordinance that says that you can't, in any pornography, can't be visible by a minor.
Oh.
Okay. Kind of makes sense.
Okay.
Right.
So you drive by.
Keep that behind the counter.
Yeah.
But I think this goes back to the older days where you might you're old enough to remember too that they used to have like blue sheets over or wrappers around magazines that were like behind the counter.
Yeah. Yeah. They were somehow obscured so that 12-year-old Kenny could not see over the counter.
That's right.
What's that?
Or they had the beads in front of the room that you walk back into.
I've seen that in the movies. Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Okay. Or the video stores.
And if you don't know what Blockbuster is, ask your parents. They'll explain that to you.
Blockbuster. Boy, did we miss you.
Yeah.
Video
that
stores.
was a great date night, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What movie are we gonna go watch?
Yeah. Let's go pick a movie.
Could we get 2?
How good's this movie? Just by looking at the cover of the thing.
How worn is it? Right? How many people have checked it out?
So as you went through, do you feel that there's a great need here for local communities to take a look at what they have on the books and do some updates?
Well, I take a step back, right? How much do we need to regulate what folks are doing in their own house? Right?
Okay.
Let's think through that first. Is there a need? Well, maybe 6 dogs or 6 cats, or the combination is like that's probably the limit. And there are some townships that have done that. Okay, I can see that. But when you go down to 2 or 3, and you're starting to bring in things like gerbils and hamsters, let's think through that. And is it really needed? seems like, why would you add one more thing that the city has to check in on and do?
That's another really good point, because when Lincoln Township was looking at the chicken issue, I talked to, because the price of eggs was really high,
Right.
people were in the pandemic mode. They wanted their chickens. They wanted something to do, an extra hobby. Who would it harm? Their question was, and the folks who were going to have to deal with this, if that were allowed, they said, okay, well, you have somebody who's going to invest a lot of money. They're going to take, $23,000 in a coop and gourmet chickens, and
There are cheaper ways.
There are cheaper
Right.
ways, but people who are going to invest the time and money and research and everything and do it particularly right, okay, fine. But then there are going to be people who don't do it right, and they try to have a small side business, and then all of a sudden they've got 40 chickens. Maybe avian flu wipes that out, and it gets the neighbors and all. So who's going to police that is another question.
Right.
And I think that eventually became part of the reason why Lincoln Township chose not to have chickens allowed in residential areas, because, the enforcement mechanism might be too great.
Well, and certainly you can look at that. What is it? Is it limiting the value of the house by not being able to do that, or is it limiting the value of the houses when you allow someone to do something above and beyond?
Right.
It's the externalities, as it's called legally.
Externalities.
Now you learned a word of that.
That I've never heard that word before. That's good. Externalities.
Right. And some say, hey, no roosters.
Yeah.
And make it really clear, because they tend to be rather annoying.
Yeah. Well, they only start crowing when sun's coming up.
There you go.
Everyone should be up anyway.
Time to eat. Well, he says, a guy, I come in and there's a single car in the parking lot.
Do you have any pets?
We do have a dog. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
One dog.
Yeah. Well,
not six.
And I know now not to admit if I have fish or not, because that seems to be so incriminating. Right?
So small fish are okay.
No, small fish are regulated. I don't know about
that's right.
Large fish might not be household pets.
See, and that's where another problem, the invasive species, comes in, right? Somebody brings in a yard fish.
Well, there are laws against that, right? So if I'm going to release a fish into the environment, right, there are laws against that.
But the invasive species, they often don't happen intentionally. It's just like, I've got a decorative pond and I want some fish in there, and somebody gave me 3 carp and I don't know what that other one is, but it sure is pretty. A flood comes along and you find out it's an invasive species that can take over ecosystem in a moment. Yeah,
and reportedly that's how the grass carp or the Asian carp got
right.
And they were testing it, and they had him in some outdoor ponds that flooded, and they being one of the state agencies.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's true or not. So if I'm wrong, I apologize.
All right. We'll come back and continue this conversation. We're talking with Kirk Goodwin. He's a corporate attorney and fascinating individual. We'll be right back here on the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning.
To manage continued uncertainty around tariffs and inflation, and it was a mixed close for Wall Street yesterday. The Nasdaq edged higher, the S&P and the Dow slipped. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
Hang on a sec before you break the microphone. I'll help you adjust that in a sec. It's 7:38. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. My guest this morning is Kirk Goodwin, and we're continuing our conversation in just a moment. I want to peel back some layers on artificial intelligence, AI, if we can.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be fun. Somebody tell you your microphone was low?
No.
Okay. You doing all right?
There we go. Seemed better.
I
was leaning.
Yeah, I know. We've got to get
by my mom to sit up straight.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. Maybe that's why my arm hurts. Okay. So we'll continue our conversation with Kirk here in just a couple of minutes, but let's get a quick check on the forecast. You're going to like this. It's going to be, sure, mostly cloudy today and 60% chance of showers, but the high's only going to be around 74. We got rid of the humidity. Got rid of most of the heat, and the winds are going to be out of the northeast, gusting up to 20 miles per hour today, so it might not be the greatest day to be on the lake. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy, a low of 57 overnight. Friday's forecast looks really good. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be mostly sunny all 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The highs for temperatures are going to be around 77 degrees, both Friday and Saturday, and then going up to 80 degrees on Sunday. So if you're looking at doing some outside activities, should be a very pleasant weekend to enjoy that. World and national news now. A check on our local news coming up next.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. At least 25 people taken to hospitals in Minneapolis after their plane had to make an unscheduled landing there. The problem was severe mid-air turbulence. Adam Nash was on board and says people who weren't strapped in were hitting the ceiling of the plane.
A gentleman 2 seats down from me, he had a gashed wound in the top of his head, and he was bleeding rather profusely.
The flight was supposed to be headed from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam. Dozens more people killed while waiting for food at a crossing in the Gaza Strip. The latest violence around aid distribution centers coming amid more international support for the Palestinians. Canada is now joining France and the UK and saying it will recognize Palestinian statehood in September at the UN General Assembly. Russia attacking Ukraine with more missiles and drones overnight. 8 killed in Kyiv. An Arkansas schoolteacher charged with murder in the killing of a couple hiking on a state park trail with their daughters. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
I'm giving my conspiracy theories about an asteroid to Kirk here. We'll continue that on the video live stream here in just a moment. But first off, taking a look at some of the news that we have coming up from our WSJM newsroom. We'll bring you these stories coming up a little after 8 o'clock. The long-awaited Project T in Benton Harbor moving another step forward. Mayor Marcus Muhammad coming out this week telling us the city has closed on the sale of the former Mercy Hospital property to Harbor Habitat for Humanity for the new mixed-use development that's going to include, they say, the plans are duplexes, apartments, and commercial space. So they hope to turn ground on that soon. We'll give you an update there. There's a new president and CEO at the helm of the Berrien County Cancer Service. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. And this weekend brings back an activity in downtown St. Joseph. You know it. You love it. You like to take pictures of it. Chalk the Block is coming up. You ever been down to Chalk the Block, Kirk?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And they're doing both the horizontal and the vertical panels. You know, so the stuff on the road and then the vertical panels, so you can do selfies and photos and stuff like that.
And even some on the ground, they have you come in and you can see that 3D perspective. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah. So looking forward to that.
And as you said, beautiful weather for it.
It's going to be gorgeous weather.
And no rain.
No, we cleaned off. Today cleans off the rain.
Nice of you to do that.
It's my pleasure. When it works, then it's my pleasure. When it doesn't, it's somebody else. All right, we've got some news coming up around the state right now, and then we'll have sports. We'll continue our conversation right now on the video live stream with Kirk Goodwin. Okay, let's wrap up on the ordinance thing. Anything else that we need to look at there? Common citizen, you hear this information, what should they do?
Right, and so you check out your ordinance, look at it. As an attorney, I am not your attorney. I would certainly not say go incriminate yourself if you have 6 hamsters. But there is typically ordinance about the age of them too. And so if they're under 6 months or sometimes 8 months, they're not counted. But when they get older, so maybe guppies really, because they die quickly. I don't know. Maybe they don't count.
Don't tell the guppies that.
And besides, how would you look at a fish and know how old it is? So I think that's going to be part.
You
of
count the ribs,
right?
You count the ribs,
right. But certainly, if you could talk to your township board or your city board and say, do you really need this regulation? Is this something that we should keep in there, or should we just maybe limit it to cats and dogs and
the neighbors thing, I get a little bit uneasy about that, because on the one hand, you want to be a good neighbor. You definitely want to be a good neighbor. But sometimes perception becomes reality for your neighbor, and they may say, well, you have chickens. I'm not going to like that, so I'm going to veto it. Or
I might not like that, but if I allow you now, I can never get rid of it.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, Diane says, I'm thinking Buchanan is okay with chickens, but no roosters. Cleanup has to be immaculate, and sounds like they have a chicken maximum. You have Buchanan there?
So Buchanan actually has we talked about the kennel, and so when it gets over 6,
back on microphone, please.
Need a kennel permit if you have 6 or more.
No, you can be loud. That's fine. Just be on the microphone. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
no. If you have 6 or more animals, you need a kennel permit in Buchanan.
Oh, 6 or more animals of any kind.
These are dogs or cats.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, check your
other domestic animals 6 months older, which I don't know what other domestic animals are.
Well, you could have the
I guess fish,
platypus.
Yeah.
You could have whistle pigs if they're Do you know what a whistle pig is?
I do. And so that's going to be the interesting thing. Like, what counts and what doesn't count now between a household animal versus other animals? Because I think 50 years ago it was something different than it is today.
Yeah, for sure. What about snakes? Because
often they do talk about reptiles.
Okay.
But not always.
Oh. Okay.
Sometimes they just talk about household pets, ones that are supposed to be like your pet in your household as a companionship. So I guess if the snake's nice to you, then it's. And so that's part of the problem. I go, what do we really count here when we're doing these things?
So when you look at these, do they ever spell out, we did this originally, like the intent, we did this originally to prevent puppy mills or to prevent smells or to prevent contamination?
No, they don't. I mean, that'd be great. Like when you look at the U.S. Senate, they do typically have a purpose or rationale for it. I'm not saying it's a great rationale when Congress does something.
Yeah.
But at least they try to put that in.
They do,
right?
and oftentimes they'll look back at it and say, okay, the true intention of this law was to do this, and to codify it or to put it into legalese, we had to do this. But go back and look and see why we did this.
Now there may be a way to look at the minutes and to see when they were adopted and see what the argument and discussions were. At that point,
depending on how good the minute taker was,
or if it's still there. Or if it's still available digitally, because I didn't go into any building and look at the stuff. Right?
That were you well received when you went looking at people's ordinances?
So they were
different
all
municipalities?
online. It was very easy to do it.
Okay.
For most of them, there was a couple that you're supposed to go and I didn't.
Okay.
But it seemed like they had made it very easy. I love the fact that we're more transparent as government bodies. That those digitization made it really easy to do that.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I don't have to ask you what you do in your spare time.
Well, that was so it's pretty easy to search nowadays. So it didn't really take that long. As you know, I shared the Google sheet that I made. So
let's talk a little bit. So you opened the door on AI, and so Ralliant, the company that you work for, is involved in AI. How?
Yeah, so our products are incorporating AI. Certainly, like think about Tektronix makes oscilloscopes, and it helps people measure, and we can use AI to help identify different things that are going on in that signal that we're receiving for you as a customer, right? And so when we're working with the Apples and Googles and others in the world, they may be interested in our products. We can provide that.
Have you tell me your level of interest in AI on a scale of 0, not interested at all, to 10? This fascinates me.
Well, it's definitely 10. If you're not looking at AI as a corporation, you're going to be missing out because your competitors will be. And so we need to look at what could AI do? What can it do really well? What can it do really, really poorly? And so you can differentiate between the two and make sure you lean on the things it does well, and be very, very cautious of things it does poorly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we are starting to try to leverage it as a tool here to help us with some things that we do in the newsroom. But the commitment and the guarantee is nothing ever goes out without human eyes on it.
Right, and so AI is. Sometimes it's called hallucination. It wants to give you the answer it thinks that you want to see.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful of that, and you can actually scale on how much you allow it to be creative and not. And then also you can say, hey, show me the money, right? Show me the link that you're getting that information.
Give me the reference,
so I can go look at it.
Give me the source.
And there's been attorneys that have gotten in trouble where they have filed briefs and they're just completely made up cases.
How does that happen? Because we reported on that.
Yeah, and so when it first started happening, I did some research, and the couple of cases it cited were fake cases that were put in a PowerPoint presentation that was put out publicly at some point. Say, hey, this is how you would cite it, kind of thing, and then say this is what it meant. And other cases, AI just so badly wants to give you the answer that's what has been instructed, and that's the whole purpose of it, is to give you what you expect to see. It just hallucinates and makes stuff up.
It hallucinates.
Yes. Or other times it may say this case says this, but it doesn't say that.
Okay.
And it just makes it up. So you have to look at things. And so several attorneys got in trouble. Now there was just one judge that had pulled their opinion. It was a federal judge who had some hallucinated cases in his opinion.
That's crazy. We'll be right back. We're going to continue this conversation right here on the WSJM Morning Show at 7:49.
For this afternoon, partly cloudy to clear skies tonight. We drop to 57, and tomorrow mostly sunny with a high of only 77. We'll be in the low 50s Saturday morning and 77 in the afternoon. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:49 WSJM Morning Show continues. We'll do our Moody on the Market update here in just a second, but I mentioned on the radio and on the, or at least on the video live stream about this. I don't know what it is. It's an interstellar object. It's called 3I Atlas, and it's basically a comet or something floating out there way off in the yonders, and it entered our universe at a trajectory that demonstrated it was not from within our galaxy. It was not within our, or at least within our universe, or I don't know where. It's
within
not
our solar
It's
system,
not.
right?
Yes, solar system. Thank
Right.
you. It's not within our solar system, but it's interstellar. And there's a Harvard professor who released what's now being called a controversial new paper, which questions whether the interstellar object Atlas, 3I Atlas, he posits that it is a potentially dangerous alien probe.
Well, if he said it was nothing to see here, no one's going to read his paper.
Nothing to see here. It's just another rock flying in the sky. It's a piece of ice. But experts call his paper nonsense, which I guess that's what you would do. But it's a newly discovered interstellar object, 3I Atlas, which could be a piece of possibly hostile extraterrestrial technology in disguise, according to that controversial paper. It's not just one gentleman, by the way, from Harvard. It is a small group of scientists, including a renowned alien hunting astronomer. So if you want more nighttime reading to keep you up.
Well, and if he wasn't finding an alien, he wasn't a very good hunter.
Well, exactly. He had a permit. He had to get something.
That's right.
Anyway, we'll talk more about that. Yeah, that is good stuff. Okay. It's a time for the Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And one of the things we love to bring you during our Moody on the Market updates, interesting people you should know. And I think Kirk Goodwin, definitely that. So thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate you, Kirk. Kirk is a corporate attorney, formerly up at Whirlpool Corporation, but now working for a fascinating company, a huge company called Ralliant.
Right.
And you used to be part of an even bigger company.
Right.
And go ahead.
Yeah, it was called Fortive. And so Fortive is still an ongoing concern, but we took a certain group of us called Precision Technology. Right, and we spun it off. And so we're now Ralliant.
And so what does Ralliant do?
Ralliant's headquartered in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm still working remotely here in lovely Southwest Michigan.
Yeah.
Ralliant has two big things. And so think about, we have sensors and safety systems, and that's about a little over 50% of our company.
Where would we find your sensors?
Well, they're everywhere. So it's power grid monitoring. We do that. We help with making sure that those are doing it. So we're selling the sensors for that. Defense and space technology.
Oh,
we have PacSci is really deep into that, but the other operating companies do to sell sensors to that too.
Okay.
Think about when you have rocket launches and you have to separate stages. They make the bolts that will energize and separate. They can hold up to 1 million pounds or maybe even 200 pounds, depending which bolt you need.
Yeah.
For instance, the canopies that eject from a jet when you have an emergency ejection, we have those, and we've PacSci has saved over 1,500 people's lives, pilots' lives, with that.
That's great.
So
that's fascinating.
Other things, and then we have industrial sensors, things like that. There's a whole group that does a bunch of different farm type sensors, where they're within like all the bin management that you have to do to make sure things are flowing or the heat's right.
So in those agricultural applications, have you been able to see it out in the field?
I grew up in Iowa, so I saw it there, right? But I haven't been there. So we spun off in July. So
okay.
I'm actually flying out next week to Portland, where Tektronix is headquartered, and all the Ralliant attorneys that can come join us.
Okay.
The board is actually going to be out there as well. And
a board.
Yeah, the board.
You should probably package this interview and give it to them as pre-read.
Well, so I've been told I have a face for radio, but now you're live streaming it, so I'm not sure how that's working.
What and in your day-to-day job, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I represent the intellectual property group. Make sure that the intellectual property rights for all of Ralliant's separate opcos. And so I was at Tektronix. I moved up into Ralliant. I'm a VP over there.
Okay.
And we're managing all of Ralliant. We're also helping create new tools. I think we talked about a little bit about a new AI tool we've just launched. We call it Hedy. There was Hedy Lamarr, is a famous actress.
Yeah.
But she also had patents. And one of the patents was on how to have secret communication with kind of this radio hopping. Now that is kind of the foundation of communications today.
Yeah.
And so how this communication works, we named our disclosure bot after that. And so what it does is helps inventors to more fully, more robustly disclose their idea that they have. And so that typically is one of the delays. We want to capture all your information. We didn't know what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah.
And when you're talking with our operating companies, I mean, this really, really high technology stuff. And so I've learned about all sorts of stuff. I thought I had learned everything I needed about appliances, so I got to learn something new.
Hedy Lamarr had patents.
She did.
Who knew?
I know.
That's fascinating. And it was on radio hopping.
It was. And the patent is actually a secret communications.
Secret communications.
Yeah. So if you hop, it's harder than to track and listen in.
That is there a book on her inventions?
I don't know.
Wow. That's fascinating
Pretty
stuff.
fun stuff.
So this AI that you have, Hedy, I mean, let's talk about this. You're fascinated with AI. I am as well. I use several different engines. I use Gemini from Google. I use ChatGPT. I use Claude from Anthropic. What do you use?
Yeah. So we're a little more sensitive about where that goes. And so remember when you give information into AI, it ingests that, and then it becomes part of that AI.
Yeah.
Unless you have an isolated
instance.
offering.
Sure.
And we use Microsoft Azure, not necessarily plugging them. And if they want me to, they'd send me some money.
Whatever.
I'll
yeah,
chat
sure.
with them, right? But I think Microsoft's doing fine without my endorsement.
$4 trillion company now.
They're doing pretty good.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. But this is why, right? And so we also now think about the technology that we make. AI has really high requirements. And so we have a group called EA out of Germany that helps with battery technology. So you can see how is your battery working. We can simulate that. And so as you're building these huge batteries that you're going to need for AI, which is the electrification of the world now, right?
Right.
AI is going to suck away most of electricity.
All of it. Okay. We're going to continue this conversation. We're running out of time here, though. So that's our Moody on the Market update for this hour. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. We'll wrap up this conversation in just a moment. We're talking with Kirk Goodwin.
Rich Brand and Tara calls.
It's fascinating. This the whole. I mean, the AI. It's moving so fast.
It is.
So fast.
Yeah.
How have you approached it from a work standpoint of AI? You mentioned the open versus closed and the ingesting that AI.
Right.
How do you balance that between I really want to take advantage of the power of AI as a tool, at the same time I don't want to give away secrets.
Right. So if it's a secret, you need to have a closed environment and look at it. And you also look at, even if it's a closed environment, what is the tool that you're using? And take a close look at, there's some coming from China that maybe be more careful with.
Yeah. Anyone in particular? Can you name names?
Would that be careful? Well, I don't want anyone yelling at me, but yeah, there's one specifically from China. I just avoid that one.
Okay.
But
so do your research, find out which AI engines are China backed.
Yeah.
And maybe don't give them your secrets, because then they'll have them and act on them.
Yeah. So I think ChatGPT or Grok, I think the ones, but
those
put
are
it inside a secure environment and make sure that if you care about your information, and there's some money to it. I think a company has to decide, hey, is this a passing fad, or is this the way it's going to go? I think it's the latter. And so you need to make that decision.
Yeah.
And once you make the decision, then just jump in, right? Because your competitors are.
Yeah.
And so if you want to stick around, you may need to do that. I'm not saying you put all your eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
But certainly put a few.
Yeah. All right. Hang on one second. We'll come right back. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:58 WSJM Morning Show continues. I'm Ken Lundberg. We've been talking this hour with Kirk Goodwin from Ralliant Company. Ralliant Corporation? Corporation, excuse me. Ralliant Corporation. Out of where? Raleigh?
We're in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. Our stock is RAL. Check it out.
Yeah, RAL. We'll check it out, because I'm fascinated by what you do, as always. Yep. And it's been a great pleasure talking with you. 2
colleagues here that live here in St. Joe, even. So,
fantastic. What do they do?
One works for Tektronix. The other one works for EA.
Oh, okay. Like Electronic Arts?
No.
Too bad.
Electro Automatica, which makes those battery testers. And
okay.
These we're not talking little, like your AA. We're talking.
You ever thought about working for a video game company?
I think it'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
I mean, GTA 6 is going to come out next year, and they are investing $2 billion into the development of that.
They are, yeah.
And they think they're going to get $7 billion back in a real short period of time, which is basically more than Hollywood could ever hope to earn in a year.
Yeah, well,
or something along
it'll be
those
interesting.
lines.
Like, well, what is Hollywood in about 10 years? How much is it? More like a video game AI versus?
Yeah, I
real
saw
life?
something today where you can put in the prompt and the show will develop around what you said.
Right.
So if you want a Seinfeld episode just for you, maybe that's in the future. Who knows? Kirk, great conversation. We've got to go to the news, but it's 8:00. More to come.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. 5 days.